But right now, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Sherman Limatainen. Thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. It's really great to be with you today, this morning. But it's really important here is we got a voice in Congress from the 8th District who will speak for us. He's not bashful about it. He does it through his campaign. He talks about labor and what it's done for the Minnesotans and America in general. And it's a great pleasure. Re-elected, and the recount's not going to happen. He was challenged with that, but it's a great pleasure that he's going to be seated now and you don't have to worry about any of this stuff that's going on with his opposition. Rick Nolan, Congressman from the 8th District.
Well, thank you so much for that warm welcome. It's always fun to be with my brothers and sisters in the Teamsters Union. As you know, all proper disclosures, I am a Teamster too. So I'm damn proud of it. You know, there's so many things that should be said, and I want to, oh, wow, here's our senator. Those are yours. And a real special thanks, I think, has to go out to the Teamsters Union. And, you know, if you're singling anyone out, it would be Sherman. Where'd Sherman? There he is, right here, for bringing all this to everybody's attention throughout this country. Because it was the Central States Pension Fund that first alerted everybody in America to what was going on and what is happening here. But we all know, and we all know now, that it was not just the Central States Pension Fund. There are 1,400 multi-employer pension funds in this country. 532 of them and more every day are in the same kind of financial circumstances that the Central States Pension Fund found itself in. Not because the working men and women that belong to that union did anything wrong. No, they put in every penny, every nickel, every dime that had been contracted for every week, every month, every time a paycheck came due. They paid into the fund. But guess what? We found 12,000 companies. Make a note of that. 12,000 companies didn't put in their share of the funds. And had they put that money in, the fund would be fine. It would be secure. But what did the Congress do at the 11th hour? The 11th hour, mind you, 2 years ago almost to the day, on a must-pass bill, late in the night, passed this so-called multi-employer pension reform legislation. And what did it do? It rewarded the companies. It rewarded the business community from having to do anything to make up for the egregious manner in which they had dealt with their obligations, and let them all off the hook, and turned around and punished the American working men and women in this country by gutting their pensions. We cannot let this go forward. We cannot let this happen. And the good news is that we now know, everybody knows. And quite frankly, on the floor of the House, we knew what was going on too. And there were a number of us, myself included, who did what we could to try to stop it. Unsuccessfully, I must say. And while I'm doing some thanks here, if you haven't sent a thank you to Ken Feinberg, the special Treasury agent assigned to this, you better do that. Because we got together with Ken, we met with him regularly, time after time, and exposed the fundamental unfairness of what was happening here, and the fact that their resolution of the problem didn't solve the problem, and that, oh, by the way, not that we should delay in any manner, shape, or form, but we got 10 years to fix this. So what is the big hurry to let the companies off the hook and put the screws to the American men and women? By the time you retire, it's a little bit late, isn't it, to start a new career? A little bit late. And to think that the members of the Congress of the United States of America would go forward with legislation to punish the people who honored every single obligation that we had and reward those who did not. How did they escape those obligations? Oh, there's a multitude of laws regarding bankruptcies and regarding mergers and regarding acquisitions and on and on and on. And guess who's always last? Always last to get made whole. It's the working men and women's pension plans. And that's not accidental. That is the way it is. And yet, we allow them continuously to say to the working man, you put your money in now, but oh, you can count on the business community. They'll have it there for you later when it's needed. Well, they've proven that's not true. In just one of those pension funds, again, I repeat, because it is so important to remind yourselves and everybody else that 12,000 companies didn't put in their funds. And what does that mean? It means that if we are committed to the fundamental fairness, which is a principle of American democracy and American economics, as we thought we knew it, then it's incumbent upon the business community to step up. I don't care if it's a transaction tax. I don't care if it's increased fees to the Pension Guarantee Benefit Corporation. I don't care where it comes from, but by God, they got to be the ones to pay for this mistake, not the working men and women in this country. Thank you. I've never felt stronger about anything in my life. And I can remember, you know, as a kid sitting at the kitchen table, listening to Mom and Dad talk. And the conversation oftentimes went, well, you know, Bud's got a job making more money than you do, Henry. And my dad would say, yeah, I know, Mary. But he doesn't have a pension plan like we do. God willing, we'll live long enough to need it and enjoy it. And Mary, he doesn't have a health care plan, you know, to take care of the kids and the family like we do. So Mary, we take a little bit less income every week and every month, but we're investing in our children, we're investing in our family, we're investing in our future by putting some money aside, taking a little less now. So, God willing, we live long enough to need it, the children need it for health care, it will be there for us. And that's what is so fundamental about America. And what did that do in our generation? My God, we doubled life expectancies in this country. We built the best middle class in the history of the world. We became a model for the rest of the world to want to be like. And now we want to kiss all that goodbye and give it all away. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. And here's what it is. Here's what it is. In politics, the decisions are always about who the hell you're for. Who are you for? And there's winners and losers more often than not. And the winners are the big multinational corporations, the Wall Streets, the billionaires, who walked away with those funds and invested it in all kinds of other adventures, increasing their wealth and all of their money, creating more billionaires and creating a society where the rich just keep getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and they keep crushing the middle class. And that's what this is all about. And now we've had a warning. Now we've had a warning through the Teamsters Central Pension Fund. It's incumbent upon us to let every member of Congress, not just in Minnesota, but in the other 53 locations where these kind of meetings are taking place, we know what's going on. We know what's happening here. We know who the winners are. We know who the losers are. And it's fundamentally unfair to punish the people who you are seeking to punish with this new legislation. I have sent a letter. I have organized a letter. I have spoken with all the conferees, alerting them to the possibility they're going to try to sneak something through again here in the 11th hour on this 2017 budget. Get a hold of anybody, everybody you know. Tell them, do not let this happen. It must go through regular order, where we have hearings, where we have all the ideas heard, where everybody gets input, because that's where you find common ground. That's where you find fairness. That's where you find equity, and that's what we've got to do in this case to make this thing right. Thank you. We're going to go to the next two senators, and then they're going to